All right, all right, all right, you beautiful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the second masterclass in the Visibility Masterclass series. And the second one, the title I've given to this one is The Signal, which is about getting clear on your mission and purpose. But it's a very particular way of getting clear on your mission and purpose because my invitation to you is that you get clear on your mission and purpose by getting rid of all the stuff that isn't you, all the stuff that isn't you. So we're going to be diving into that anyway. Don't take my word for it. We'll be heading there. So so as usual, I've got a little slideshow, as much as anything to keep me on track and remind me what I'm up to. Um, my objectives, as before, are to talk to you about what I'm calling the visibility paradox, which is just with there's so much AI is making it easier and easier. Like I really am a person sitting here doing this right now, but the quality of the AI reproductions and that sort of thing that you can do today is truly incredible. And that stuff is going to continue filling up the airwaves. And so my fundamental assertion is the way you fight that isn't by trying to beat AI at its own game. It's by allowing what is most uniquely and authentically human. And by that, I mean what's most uniquely and authentically you to shine out through your communications, through the experience people have on you, have of you, through the quality of your being. So that's what we're exploring here. So the visibility paradox, see how visibility, mission, and purpose are all intimately connected to the unique gifts you're here to share, and to make progress in getting yourself out there, and see how this also plays into enrolling clients and all that sort of stuff. And as well, we want to just get clear on seeing through hesitation and overwhelm so you can take action and move forward and give your gifts and the difference you're here to make. The take action and move forward bit is important because that's how we express ourselves in the world. I think it was Gandhi who said, action expresses priorities. Action expresses priorities. And I'm all in favor of doing whatever you need to do to be in a good frame of mind and be in a good feeling and all that sort of stuff. But the action bit's real important as well. So we'll be exploring that, which gets us where? What we'll not be doing, finding your niche. We're not going to explore finding your niche. The top 10 things you need to do in order to whatever, tips, tricks, tactics, that sort of thing. No, because we're focusing on genuine transformation. And here's what I mean by that. My When I think of what my job description is, it's to help create the conditions for my clients to have the insights and realizations that are going to make a difference to them. And those insights and realizations arise from within them. So it's not that there aren't useful things you can learn and master and figure out and that sort of thing. There's all kinds of useful things in the world. As you can see, I've got a quite a bookshelf behind me full of stuff. Some of those books I've even read. But I found that it's much easier to purchase books than it is to read them. Who knew? So there we go. But but yeah, so there are definitely things to learn and do. But here's the interesting thing. The thing that's going to make a real difference is the things to learn and do that are aligned with you and your unique gifts and your qualities and your way of doing it. So that's what this is all about. Which gets us where? Which gets us to, oh, well, I want that this session as well. My ideal is that during this session, at some point, you find your way into an insight-friendly space and you realize something, you see something that's going to be valuable to you moving forward, and then you go and do something with it. That's what I'm hoping happens. So for me too, by the way. So we had Masterclass one, the noise the other day. We've got the signal today. Then on Friday, we've got the visibility. And then next Wednesday, we've got the crossing, which is pulling it all together. Um, so this session introduction, that's this bit. Quick recap, my story. I'm Jamie. Type into the chat how long you've known me, how long you've been connecting with me. I figured out last time this is just the quickest way of doing it. And you can say where you're from as well, like whether it's a week or a year or 2 years or 5 months or whatever. Just type it into the chat so other people can see. Because while I can and will put up the slide of all the kind of credibility stuff, being on the news and being in newspapers and selling books and that sort of thing. The source of my qualification to be your guide in this day and age, as we head into, it's kind of funny actually. I was working with a colleague of mine. We're putting together an offering for CEOs and C-suite executives around this. And you might be interested in our fundamental premise. Our fundamental premise is this. Everyone's out there showing you what you got to do to master AI and this and that and the other. But the fact of the matter is, nobody knows. Nobody knows because we are headed straight into the unknown. And nobody knows your business better than you. Nobody knows your unique gifts and talents better than you. So our assertion is what you need in order to master the years ahead is not more trips and tricks and tips and strategies and models and that sort of thing. It's an upgrade for your mind. You want to upgrade your psychological and emotional operating system so that you're able to navigate and take decisions and take action in a rapidly changing world. You see, for most of our history, we've evolved for a linear world, a world where things moved at a linear pace. But we've stepped into an exponential world, and we need a different kind of thinking for an exponential world. There's a quote by Edward O. Wilson, who wrote one of these books. He wrote Sociobiology. Where is it? There it is. Sociobiology, Edward O. Wilson. He said, humanity's main problem is that we have Paleolithic nervous systems, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. Now, he said that 30 or 40 years ago. He didn't know what was coming. So, but it's kind of interesting, right? You look around the world and you see increased tribalism, a mental health crisis, insecurity, war, all this stuff. It's like, have we learned nothing? Well, the issue is we're trying to use an operating system that was perfect when we were in tribes of, a few hundred to a few thousand people. It doesn't scale globally, so we need an upgrade for our operating system. And it looks to me like the principles that I'm so passionate about are that upgrade. So that's our kind of pitch to CEOs. So I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, so the main thing that qualifies me to be your guide, man, this was a long way around, is just like you, I don't know what's going to happen, right? But what I know is that our best shot at finding our way forward in these times is to be present to the source of truth and beauty and wisdom and guidance that resides at the hearts of our being, that's there within us, that animates us. That's our best shot. And so that's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I'm sharing with people. And so the answer isn't going to be figure out how to do it like Bob does it. Another favorite quote of mine, Rabbi Zoizak, I think was his name. I can't pronounce it right. He said, when I get to heaven, God's not going to ask me why I wasn't more like Moses. He's going to ask me why I wasn't more like Zoizak. And that's my take too, is, you know, well, I'll read you a quote actually. Yeah, this is the day. This is a quote by a guy. He was born in South Jamaica in Queens, and his mom was a drug dealer, and she got shot dead when he was 8. So then the only way he could figure out how to make a living was by dealing crack. You didn't think you were getting this story tonight, did you? It was by dealing crack. So he was a crack dealer in New York City, and one of his buddies noticed that he had kind of a gift for rhyming and put him in touch with another musician, and he got really good at making rhymes. And he got into a studio and he started making recordings, but while all the other rappers in the area were making recordings of like radio hits and that sort of thing, this guy made raps that were telling about life on the street being a crack dealer. And people, if that got people's attentions, then Eminem got his attention. He got a record deal with Columbia Records or someone, and they tried to get him to change his style, and he wouldn't do it. Then someone tried to assassinate him, shot him 8 or 9 times, got a bullet in the jaw, and he went, okay, just back to the drawing board, stuck to his guns, no pun intended, and ended up becoming one of the biggest recording artists in the world. There's a guy called 50 Cent. And he said this. He said, The greatest fear people have is that of being themselves. They want to be 50 Cent or someone else. They do what everyone else does, even if it doesn't fit where and who they are. But you get nowhere that way. Your energy is weak and no one pays attention to you. You're running away from the one thing that you own, what makes you different. I lost that fear. And once I felt the power I had by showing the world I didn't care about being like other people, I could never go back. Now, that was in the forward of my book Results, because this notion has been core to my work the whole time, which is that you have a source within you, not just of peace and clarity and love and well-being and confidence and creativity, but of expression. There's something you're here to bring into being in the world. And what I care about is helping you get connected with that, get present to that. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So, what qualifies me to be your guide? All that and more. So, I had insights way, way back in 2009 into these principles, and I got a vision, which was of everyone on the planet being awake to their innate capacity for clarity, resilience, and well being. And the evidence for that would be the first generation of children born to parents who already know that. Like you and me were born to parents who already knew about germs, right? And I realized over the years that my mission is to awaken people and support them in awakening others. Now, by awaken, I mean awakening them to what they've got within them. So that's what I'm doing. And my metaphor for all what's going on at the moment is that there's this quote by, see if I've got it here in the slideshow, actually. It's by a guy called D. Ward Hawk, who was the founder of Visa. I can't see it. I'll freestyle it. D. Ward Hawk said, he said, we're at that very point in time when a 400-year-old age is dying and another is struggling to be born. Ahead, the regeneration of liberty, ethics, culture, art, science, music, relationship with each other and with the natural world like the world has never seen. And I first read that about 30 years ago, and I was like, that sounds pretty good. But with the changes that are going on in the world and with technology at the moment, we're in this strange situation where it looks like that could actually be a possibility, but extreme catastrophe could also be a possibility, or dystopian hellscapes could also be a possibility. So there are several different options that we're choosing from at the moment, and a world of abundance and truth and beauty and a new age is possible, but it's not like 95% likely as far as I can tell. Like it's one of those things where if that's the kind of world we're gonna live in, we've each got to do our part to bring it into being. And how I model it is sort of like that possibility is kind of, I don't know, 5 to 10 years out there, and we're where we are. And there's this Indiana Jones style rope bridge between here and there with people flinging boulders and, you know, lightning and earthquakes and that sort of thing. We got to get across that bridge. And that's what the next few years are going to be like, as far as I can tell. So it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be an adventure. And it looks to me like there are a couple of reasons why the principles understanding, which I'm so passionate about, uh, could be valuable in that adventure. And one of them is well-being. You know, there's a humanitarian crisis in mental health that appears to be playing out at the moment. And using CBT, for instance, to try and tackle that is like throwing a baked bean at a charging rhinoceros. It's CBT is great. I'm not dissing CBT, but it's not the same as knowing principles, right? You know, psychology is in its pre-principles phase, and I hear Silicon Valley folks saying we need an upgrade to the human mind, and I'm like, we've got one, so we just need to get it out into the world. So the other reason it looks timely to me is wisdom. You know, we have people in positions of great power and influence making important decisions. And a lot of the time, they're not being guided by wisdom. They're recognizing that they're not being guided by wisdom, that they're using the thinking of the past to try and find their way in the future. And I think this is crucial. We need to get people present to the innate source of clarity, resilience, wisdom, and well-being that's there in everybody. So it looks timely to me. So, so. The other thing we talked about last time is this model which my girlfriend came up with, my beloved Emma McDevitt, which is that if you think of the principles or God or the universal energy, however you want to think about it, they're everywhere, all at once, all the time. But there's a spark of that within you and within me and within each and every one of us that you could think of as your soul or your unique essence, your unique being. And that's the source of your unique gifts and your unique qualities. And this is going to be really relevant tonight, by the way, or today, depending on where in the world you are. It's going to be relevant because we're going to be talking about signal. And signal is the thing that is uniquely you that allows people to tune into you. So we're going to be exploring that in depth. And then above that middle layer, which is kind of the soul bit, then you've got the ego identity, personality traits, conditioning, all that sort of stuff. And for most people, that's a bit shonky. For some people, it's way over here. For some people, it's just a little bit off base. For me, it's quite a bit over here. And I've spent, the last few years, well, the last 30 years, kind of trying to bring it more into alignment with what I'm really here to do and what I'm really about. And, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it's with every step I take, it looks clear to me that there's a bigger wisdom and intelligence playing out for all of us. Like the fact that we're all here together on this call when the other 8 billion people on the planet aren't suggests that there's something that's resonating here for people. If you're resonating with this, are you guys resonating with what I'm talking about? Or are you just going, yeah, yeah, Jamie, we get it. Let's get to the visibility stuff. Like just type into the chat if you're resonating or do a hand signal or whatever these things are. I'm going to have a sip of tea. Okay, so this is resonant. That's good. That's good because otherwise this is just Jamie going on about whatever he's obsessed with at the moment, which is also a possibility. So, so yeah, that middle bit, soul, spirit, essence, true identity. I'm going to suggest that that's the source of the good stuff. Then the other stuff we keep coming back to is subtractive psychology. This entire approach is subtractive. It's about taking stuff away rather than adding more in. I'm not going to go through predictions and stuff at the moment. Oh yeah, so intro. I was going through the session outline. So introduction, that's this bit. Quick recap, my story, visibility paradox, subtractive psychology. That was that bit we've just done. Now we're going to look at what is signal. Oh, but I wanted to ask your permission about 3/4 of the way through the session, I'm going to do a shameless plug for an event we've got coming up on the 24th and 25th of this month. If you're okay with me doing a shameless plug, type plug into the chat. And I'm going to say, okay, Lena's been 2 years, Mexico, Giles, 6 years. And I know you're in Wales, Giles. Eric, 7 years, Redding, California, right on. Lawrence, 4 months, right on Lawrence. Nikki, 2 years, Aberdeen, Scotland. Kate, couple of years, Cornwall. Jennifer, 10 days, UK. Yeah, it was just a week a few days ago, Jennifer. We're getting there. Christina, 2 years, Denmark, right on. Miriam, a few months, Oslo. Julie, 10 years later. These are great. It's so great to see you guys. And yeah, thank you for being here. And thank you for saying I can do a shameless plug. Oh, someone said I'm in. Right on, Kate. Glad to have you with us. It's going to be great. Who else is coming already, like signed up and coming on the 24th and 25th? So Julie is, Dennis is right on. Dennis, Kate is. We've got about, I don't know, 40 or 50 people so far because all the people in our tribe and our CCT self-study program are coming. So it's going to be great. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little bit. Um, so what is signal? Yeah, signal. Well, signal is kind of interesting. Is it, Jamie? Yes, yes, it is. It is. So in radio signaling, like Morse code and all that sort of thing, radio signalmen or signal people, they have two measures for signal. On a scale of one to five, they talk about signal clarity and signal amplitude. How clear is it and how loud is it? And you've heard it, loud and clear, loud and clear. Those are the two. That's 5 by 5. 5 by 5 is loud and clear. So the thing I see with a lot of people is their signal is weak. This is what 50 Cent was talking about. He said they do what everyone else, the greatest fear that people have is that of being themselves. They do what everyone else does, even if it doesn't fit where and who they are. But you get nowhere that way. Your energy is weak and no one pays attention to you. He's talking about signal. He's talking about signal. And the challenge we've got is most of us have grown up in a society where we're encouraged to conform, to be like other people, to do what other people are doing. But that mutes our signal, right? And so what you see again and again and again is when people are inspired to be true to themselves, to share their truth, all that sort of stuff, they'll often come up against a bit of an obstacle, which is like, I've got this thing I want to say, but I don't want people to say I'm a no good shit or that they don't like me or to be offended or that sort of thing. I saw one of my colleagues, Claire Diamond, posting on social media today saying that loads of people had unfriended her or canceled her or whatever because of opinions she was sharing. But I was like, well, hats off to you, Claire, for being true to yourself and calling it like you see it, because that takes courage. And we live in a world where the price of canceling someone or whatever is very, very low. It doesn't cost much to just say block or report or whatever. But it takes courage to 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 call it like you see it and be true to yourself and regardless of what other people are saying, you see. And there's a way in which social media has almost increased the desire for a lot of people to be like everyone else, to fit in, to look like they're the same as everyone. But again, that mutes your signal. And so part of the power of signal is about being willing to be yourself, even though it may look a bit weird, it may sound a bit weird. So let's look a little closer at this. I just pulled together a bunch of images of people you may know who, in my reckoning, have strong signal. So Nina Simone, very strong signal. Dave Chappelle, very strong signal. Anthony Robbins, very strong signal. Frank Zappa, very strong signal. Muji, strong signal. Sid Banks, strong signal. Buddha and Jesus, those guys' signal was so strong. Thousands of years later, people still read their stuff. That's signal. That's signal, right? Now, we don't have any video of them, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. We don't know what they look like, uh, but that signal, being able to penetrate through thousands of years, that signal. Um, who else we got there? Tom Waits. You hear the first few bars of a song, even if you've never heard it before. If it's by Tom Waits and you know Tom Waits music, you know it anywhere. You know it anywhere. Same with Picasso's painting or Frida Kahlo. You see a Frida Kahlo piece, you can tell it's her. It's her. Michael Caine. Michael Caine, exactly the same in every movie he's in. It doesn't matter whether he's playing a gangster or a tap dancer. It's Michael Caine. His signal's really strong. Yet he pulls it off. He pulls it off because he's being himself. I know that's not necessarily what acting's supposed to be about, but he seems to be a great actor, or was. I'm not sure if he's still around, but fair play. But Chapel Roan, this is a funny story. About 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I heard this song on, I don't know, on YouTube or radio or something called Pink Pony Club. And I listened to it and I was like, holy shit, that girl's got signal. It just cut right through. I can tell. Totally unique sound, unique phrasing, everything. The melody was unique. So I sent it to my daughters and they were like, yeah, this is banging. It's really good. And then 3 years later, she's huge. Chapel Roan's massive now. And my daughters are going around going, my dad called it, which is like, that buys me a tiny bit of credibility with my daughters and her friends. Probably not with their friends, maybe not with them, but with their friends. So, but signal is powerful. And you'll see it. The reason I've used popular artists and that sort of, oh, Banksy paintings. You see a Banksy painting, They're so very distinctive. So just type into the chat, who do you know who's got 5 by 5 signal, who's got a strong, clear signal that you can pick up everywhere, anywhere, whether it's in their written work or their painting or their music or their speaking, whatever it is. Type them into the chat. I want to see who's got signal. Who's got signal? Robert Holden. Yeah, Robert Holden. Uh, Robert Holden's signal is like he's the world's funniest vicar. He's not actually a vicar, but that's kind of his vibe. That's how I think of his vibe. Is it, who knows? Yeah, Leslie has confirmed that's Robert's signal. It's very distinctive. Taylor Swift, absolutely. Leonard Cohen, totally. You listen to Leonard Cohen's story. Leonard Cohen's story was he was writing this stuff, and I can't remember who it was. She said, "You got to come out on stage," and he wouldn't do it. He was so afraid to perform, but he came out and performed, and people were blown away. Signal. Trump's got signal. Yeah, sure he does. Sure he does. You don't get into the position that he's got into without signal. His signal is why so many people love him, and his signal is why so many people mentioned this last time. There's a guy called Alex Mandozian who said he wants people to turn up the volume or change the channel. Well, the reason people turn up the volume is because of your signal. And the reason people change the channel is because of your signal. They don't like it. I don't like this guy. There's a bunch of people who came on this webinar and left after 2 minutes because they don't like the signal. I get it. I get it. That's fine. So signal it is. So yeah, who else we got? Eckhart Tolle, absolutely. Um, and Byron Katie for that matter. Steve Hardison for sure. Richard Bandler, yep. EJ Gold, I don't know Gold, but I'll take your word for it. Dalai Lama for sure. David Mitchell, from the guy from Peep Show, Giles. Eminem for sure. Swami, I don't know him, but I'll take your word for it. Bill and Dr. Bob. Yeah, they've got a signal. Well, it's funny actually. Bill and Dr. Bob were the guys who created AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's funny. I heard this just the other day. Henry Kissinger was asked on his deathbed what he considered the USA's greatest contribution to humanity to be. And Kissinger said Alcoholics Anonymous because before AA, alcoholics basically drank themselves to death, died in accident, or were murdered for being annoying, killed themselves, or got locked up in mental institutions to avoid harming themselves. So there was just no solution, and AA was the first kind of possibility of recovery that entered into that world. So this is great. Lots of great examples. Robin Williams for sure, Elvis for sure, Ron Atkinson for sure, Swami Bayandananda. I don't know Swami Bayandananda, but I'll take your word for it. Nick Cave, yup, Jimmy Buffett. These are just such great examples. And isn't it cool that as you scan through your own reference experiences, you have a way of knowing when someone's got that signal, right? That cuts through, right? So I'm going to suggest to you that that signal. So let's just go to the slide again. Signal is an expression of something, of the wisdom and intelligence of life that arises at the heart of your being and resonates with you and your unique way of seeing the world and gets processed through your ego and personality, right? Because that's how are you gonna, ego and personality include your ability to talk and stuff. So it's gonna, you know, you guys may have noticed that my signal doesn't seem to express in Mandarin. And it's because I don't speak Mandarin, right? So I needed some conditioning to learn to speak English. And so that's the prism that life sends my signal through, right? Not Mandarin. If I start doing courses in Mandarin, though, that'd be pretty wild. Um, so yeah, it's an expression of your unique essence. And I want to read you a poem. And this poem is an interesting one. When I first heard it, my girlfriend shared it with me. I really liked it. I thought That's nice. That's a nice poem. Uh, but then as I sat with it, I realized it's actually incredibly incisive. So you might skip the, oh, that's nice, and go straight to the incisive and deep bit because it really is quite good. So here goes. This is called Cargo, and it's by someone called Greg Kimura. And it goes something like this. It goes like this. It goes, so this is Cargo. You enter life a ship laden with meaning, purpose, and gifts, sent to be delivered to a hungry world. And as much as the world needs your cargo, you need to give it away. Everything depends on this. But the world forgets its needs, and you forget your mission. And the ancestral maps used to guide you have become faded scrawls on the parchment of dead pharaohs. The cargo weighs you heavy the longer it is held, and spoilage becomes a risk. The ship sputters from port to port, and at each you ask, is this the way? But the way cannot be found without knowing the cargo, and the cargo cannot be known without recognizing there is a way. And it is simply this: you have gifts. The world needs your gifts. You must deliver them. The world may not know it is starving, but the hungry know, and they will find you when you discover your cargo and start to give it away. And my invitation to you is that you already know. Like you wouldn't be here if you didn't already have clues to what it is that moves your heart, that touches your soul, that you're inspired to share. And you can tell a story about it. Oh, yeah, but I need to figure out my XYZ or my niche or my, I don't know, ideal customer avatar or some such bullshit. But no, you know. You know, because it's there in your heart. You know, your heart already knows what you want to become, what you're here to do, what you're born to bring to this world. Your heart knows. And your conditioning, your ego, you might call it, your intellect, knows where you've been. It doesn't know about the future, but it knows about the past. And so it tries to use the past to build a bridge to the future, but that doesn't work because the future is new and your heart knows the way into the future. Your heart knows what the future holds in some way, but your ego doesn't. So there's a way in which now more than ever, you've got to be willing to trust your heart and step forward in the world from that place of trust and knowing. So that's what this is all about. The author of that, Robert, is called Greg Kimura. Here, I'll put it in the chat just a second. So that's Cargo by Greg Kimura. Oh, and I also meant to put into the chat and then didn't the details of the the two things we've got coming up. Um, oops, there we go. Uh, which is we've got an event on the 24th and 25th of this month called Advanced Coaching Foundations, which is going to be fantastic. It's something that in the past we've only offered it as part of our Clarity Certification Training Program, but this year I've decided to open it up. The reasoning is this: the rope bridge that I mentioned, everyone in the world is going across that, whether they like it or not. It's really happening. It's not optional. And it looks to me like we have a pretty urgent need to get this understanding out to as many people as possible. And what I've found again and again and again over the years is the best way of getting this understanding out into the world is through coaches and therapists and change workers who have been touched by it. So, uh, My clarity certification training was designed to help people get very, very good at sharing this understanding with others. And the first module of it, I call Advanced Coaching Foundations, because it really gives you the foundation for that to bring that into the world. So we've got that event coming up. But the other thing we've got is a thing called Clarity Pro, which is basically how to share the principles like a pro in any situation on any topic with anyone. And so it's got all sorts of different things ranging from uh, stress and anxiety to relationships to uh, business consulting to giving a talk on the principles, all different things. And it has basically audience engagement pack. So how do you get people engaged in it and involved in it? It's got impact kits. So how can you make a difference to people in those different topic areas and showing you again and again and again how the principles play out in those areas. So one of the cool things about it is I always described it as being like a cross between a martial arts dojo and a Swiss Army knife and a Netflix subscription because you can just get the bit that you need for something. If you're going into a meeting or something like that, you listen to it for 5 minutes before you go in, or you can take something that's more of a, relax and listen to it for an hour, or something to play at the gym or that sort of thing. But the idea is it gives you many different ways of connecting with and thinking about this understanding through your own insights. Like the purpose with all of it is to create the conditions for you to have your own insights. Dennis says, "You got me at Swiss Army knife." Yeah, that's it. Honestly, Dojo plus Swiss Army knife plus Netflix subscription. It just makes sense. It's very, very simple. So what we decided to do was we'll include a free place on the event in a couple of weeks. Next week, it's not this weekend, but next weekend, we'll include a free ticket to the event for everyone who buys Clarity Pro, and Clarity Pro is at a no-brainer price. And it all, as usual, 100% money back guarantee. If you're like, that was terrible, or even it wasn't quite what I wanted, we'll happily give you your money back. So, which gets us where? Which gets us cargo. So, my assertion to you is that what Kimura is talking about in his poem is your soul, your spirit, your heart. You know, the you hear people say, you're here for a I'll tell you a story. I've got a recording by Sid Banks called Beyond the Word. Old recording from, I think, from the early 1980s. And so he gives this really, really deep talk, talking about the principles, really, just really, really deep. And then, after whatever it is, 30 minutes or so, he goes, "So, any questions?" And this guy goes, "Yeah, what does all this have to do with your mission in life, your purpose in life?" And Sid goes, "Your mission and purpose?" He goes, "Well, this is just my opinion. In my opinion, your mission in life is to remember who you really are, to remember that you're God." And the guy goes, "Is that it?" And so and Sid's like, "Yeah, that's it." It's kind of interesting to me. It seems to me that everyone on the planet is on this journey to remember who we really are. And we take all kinds of detours, looking for it where it isn't. There's that joke about the guy who's drunk, 2 in the morning, scrabbling around in the grass under a street light. And a policeman wanders up to him and says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Hey, I'm looking for my keys." And the policeman gets down on his hands and knees and is looking as well. He can't find them. And he goes, "Where did you lose them?" He says, "Oh, a couple of streets over." The cop goes, "Well, why are you looking here?" The guy goes, "Well, the light's a lot better here." And that's what we tend to do. We tend to look in the world of form, in the world of business or accomplishment or learning or relationships or money or sex or uh, um, I got stuck there. But we tend to go looking out here in the world of stuff because the light's better here. But what we're looking for is within us. And that's not to say that there aren't really, really valuable and worthwhile things to get up to in the world of stuff and people and relationships and growing and learning. There's lots of great stuff to get up to. But it's a completely different game when you're playing it from the knowing of who you really are rather than looking for who you really are. It just changes the game entirely. So that's at the heart of what I am passionate about sharing with people. So, which gets us where? So, how do you get clarity on your mission and purpose? And the answer is by subtracting what isn't yours and what isn't you, by taking that stuff away. And that's why what I call subtractive psychology is kind of interesting the way these things work, you know. I Years ago when I was very, very early on my own kind of developmental journey. So this is like 1997, 1998. I came across this quote from Michelangelo, who was asked how he'd created a particular statue. I don't know if it was David or the Pieta, but some very beautiful statue. And someone was like just blown away by the incredible beauty and mastery of this piece. And he said, "How did you do it?" And uh, Michelangelo said, "I saw the angel in the stone, and then I just chipped away everything that wasn't there." And how it looks to me is that the truth and beauty of who you really are is already there within you. And all we need to do is create the conditions for all that isn't you, for you to see through the stuff that was never you in the first place. And the truth and beauty of you shines through. And I'm struck again and again and again by how simple it is and by how beautiful it is. And the process of doing that with your clients and with audiences and with individuals is is kind of wild because on the one hand, I'll tell you about this actually. I'll offer a coaching demo at the next one of these. We've only got about 15 minutes left, so I'm not going to do it tonight, but I will make a note to do a coaching demo so you can see this in action because it really is quite something. And it's kind of interesting. Like part of the power of it is knowing what the other person has going for them, knowing what they've already got within them. When you know that about your client at a spiritual level, they will pick up on it. They will pick up on it. So it's kind of weird because I'll do a coaching session with someone and I will know that they have this within them and that they're going to see whatever they need to see, make a difference. And then I have no idea how it's going to happen. So it's different every time because it happens through insight, it happens through realization, but it's so reliable that you come to rely on it. It's like that with reliable things. You come to rely on it. So yeah, we'll schedule that in probably for the next one. I think that'll be fun. So my assertion to you is that this thing of how do you get clarity on your mission and purpose by subtracting what isn't yours, the most straightforward way of doing that I've found is through learning subtractive psychology, what I call the principles behind clarity. And it's premised on the basis that you have an innate capacity for clarity, resilience, well-being, purpose, direction, confidence, love, peace, joy, resilience, all that stuff. And all we need to do is get rid of the misunderstandings that have been getting in the way of that. And clarity emerges like the sun behind the clouds. Because, today I live in Nottingham and it was very cloudy, but the sun was out all day. I couldn't see it, but it was just there behind the clouds, right? So I wasn't worried at any point that someone had stolen the sun or anything because It's there whether you can see it or not. And when you know that about your clients, they can feel it. They can feel the truth of that. But it's not an intellectual knowing, it's a knowing in your heart. Which gets us where? Well, my assertion is that one of the most valuable things you can do is recognize the power of who you are and what you've got going for you. So what I'm up to, oh, can I do the shameless plug now? Is that okay? Okay. What I've decided I'm going to do is create a nourishing container for coaches to navigate and thrive through the period we're going through, basically to cross the rope bridge. It's a way of staying close to the beautiful feeling of who you really are, being part of something, developing close relationships, sense of purpose and direction and belonging, but also just as figuring out together how we navigate these strange times that we're moving through. It's also where I'm focusing my attention on my service. And my experience over the years is that riding the waves beats being hit by the waves. It's better to be doing the change than having it done to you. So I got to say, we had a Clarity Coaches call tonight just before I came on and did this. And I just love being part of a group of coaches and therapists and change workers who are up to something interesting in the world. It's very, very cool. So, in light of that, uh, as I said, the links are in the comments for the Clarity Pro library. There's about 50 different topics in there. So it's not about you've got to read all the topics and that sort of thing. It's more about find out the thing you're interested in today or your client struggling with tomorrow or the business you're going in and talking to next week or using. And then you just find the bit that relates to that, listen to the 5 minutes or the half hour or whatever. I'll give you an example. We had one session, I can't even remember which one it was in, but one of the Clarity Pro members was going into a business and they wanted help designing a workshop. So we designed the workshop real time within Clarity Pro, and the recordings are in the library. And then she went and delivered it and came back and did an unpacking of what she'd delivered. So I wanted it to be really, really hands-on, useful stuff that allows you to navigate specific challenges and get the answers to specific things. So the links are in the chat there. And if you get Clarity Pro, you get tickets to the event. How's that for a short plug? Utterly shameless. All right. So, no, we're not doing that. No, that's from, I know, I know. I'm going to go straight to Q&A. I'm going to go straight to Q&A. I'll tell you why. The the headline of this was Signal: How to Get Clear on Your Meaning and Purpose Direction by Removing What Isn't That. Who's already got a sense of what their purpose or direction or thing they want to be moving forward with in the world is? Who's already got a sense of that? Okay. Who's like, no, I still don't know. I mean, let's see, show of hands. Okay. Would anyone like to have a few minutes coaching on that? Anyone feeling a bit brave to have some coaching on meaning and purpose and direction? You don't have to. Oh, and here's the thing. It's not mandatory to have a sense of that. It's nice. It's nice, but it's not mandatory. Well, has anyone got any questions? Go ahead, Christina.
Well, I'm willing
Oh,
to.
unmute. I can't hear you.
I have unmuted.
Oh, hang on a sec. It's probably my volume's turned right down. Say again.
Yeah. I am willing to talk to you in for 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Well, let's see what happens. Thanks, Christina. So,
Mm.
what would be a great outcome for you as a result of this conversation?
Well, when you ask for a sense of purpose, it's more a feeling than it's a content.
Yeah.
It's more a feeling of wanting to move, but
Mm.
the content is not clear at all. It could
And,
be many contents. Mm.
and when you say it's a feeling of wanting to move, is there a particular direction in it?
Um, it's more a feeling of action, feeling of contributing,
Uh-huh.
hmm of getting something to move.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, getting something to move.
yeah.
And do you have a sense of what you'd like to contribute to?
Well, of course, it's founded or grounded in the three principles. It's like when I look back at my own life, what stands out is that I think I, from time to time, have done what other people wouldn't do. Locked door that seemed opportune, or I just left a job for at the university because I was bored
Hmm.
and I have no other job. Many people would find that. Yeah, I think I have the what I try and ask me the question again, Jamie, I think I lost the track.
Well, I liked what you were saying. I will ask you the question again in a moment, but one of the things I liked about what you said is I got the impression, Christina.
I want to hold the light to encourage other people to jump when they know something doesn't feel sustainable or doesn't hold integrity or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's really beautiful. So what I heard was you want to hold a light that encourages other people to
yeah,
to jump if they think that something's not sustainable or not in integrity so
yeah.
what I hear in that, but I'm going to say some stuff and don't let me put words in your mouth. Like if this is not
Mm,
what I heard in that was that you are present to what we might call being true to yourself in a way that's more important than uh, certainty about
mm,
keeping things the same. So if
mm,
I was to put it into
mm,
words, it would be you're willing to, it sounded like you're willing in certain circumstances to take the next step without knowing what's going to happen.
mm.
Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's true.
And the impression I got is that, but again, don't let me put words in your mouth. You see people in those kind of situations where they would like to take that step, but they're afraid.
Yeah, they're afraid. And that could be many reasons to be
For
afraid.
sure.
Also, it's the stars that you have on your shoulder or whatever.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Well, that sounds to me really, you said it's not any specific content, but that what I would call container, which is uh it's funny. I have a client and she does what she calls creating brave spaces for people where they can
Mm.
get in touch with their courage.
Mm.
And that's what I heard you referencing was that you have a willingness to kind of walk and let the path appear in front of you in a
Mm.
way that has other people surprised and like, wow, I wouldn't do that.
Mm.
And I don't want to push on this because it may not be this. You'll know better than me. But my sense as I listen to you is that you see other people who are in a position where it would make sense for them to do that, and you want to
Mm.
encourage them.
Mm.
Well, that sounds really clear to me, Christina. What are you noticing right now?
Well, it feels and even clearer now. So, um, and then I know it's also maybe natural still. It's a lot of uncertainty because a certainty in not that I feel uncertain in, but doubt about how do I get that message across to people. Yeah,
Well,
so it's
that's a great question. I mean, the
so it's not an uncertainty inside, it's an uncertainty of the communication part.
oh yeah, yeah, I get it. I get it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, and my guess is when you hear me say this, you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, are you ready?"
Mm, yeah, I'm ready.
Well, the people you want to reach are people have uncertainty about how to take the next step,
Yeah.
and you want to encourage them. And so there's a way in which you, Christina, need to be the first recipient of the medicine you want to administer.
Mhm.
So the way my prediction is that the way you're going to communicate effectively with those people is by demonstrating what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is by doing stuff without knowing the how, like just taking
Yeah.
the next step.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does make sense. And I think somehow I know it. I feel like I'm in a position of, you put the seeds into the ground and it's lying there waiting for the sun to heat up the soil so that it can sprout. And it's like I feel like I'm still in the womb. I'm not ready to be born. It's like it's not that it's gonna be 8 years from now, but something is like moving, but down under the soil.
Well, I'm sure that's true, and that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
What I invite you to take away from this session is that whenever you're ready to communicate
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's probably not going to be because you got given a clear action plan from someone's website. It's probably going to involve you taking
yeah,
the faith in
mm,
communicating it. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah, it does.
Thank you, Christina. That was great.
Thank you, Timmy.
Very much.
Mm,
So listen, guys, give Christina a big round of applause. I think I'm going to call it a night. All I would say is I'm going to be obviously doing coaching demos during the Advanced Coaching Foundations weekend. And the idea is we create a whole 2 days to really get you present to who you really are and everything about how you can bring what you're here to bring into the world. The, the basically the event itself is a £1,500 event, but it's on sale for half of that. But if you buy the Clarity Pro library, you get it as a freebie. So it's a no-brainer to get the Clarity Pro library. Anyway, I will see you again on Friday. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.